I guess part of our process, we had a good debrief yesterday, the team. We had some speed issues in the last leg, which is kind of hard to own up to when you've sailed the boats 40,000 miles and you find out you're going slow. So we're trying to address them, but we're kind of a youngish team other than myself, and we're working through that. So we sort that out, and this next leg is going to be predominantly light air and quite tricky sailing, and I think that suits us pretty nice. We've got some guys and girls that got good smarts in that department, and hopefully a speed deficit won't play as much of a part in it. Yeah. You kind of, there's a couple of different tactical options. We spoke over this yesterday at length about when to apply some risk to try and make the gain, and when to know, righto, we just need to try and hang with them to be in the same piece of water for when that opportunity arises. So, from my side, I've got to try and manage that better than what I've done in the previous league. Yeah, well, you look at it, but it's amazing. Sometimes during the leagues, the weather models are so accurate. You actually can't believe how accurate they are. And I'll pick up a difference in the middle of nowhere or at a shoreline that you're astounded. And then other times, they're well out. So, you're hanging on every download to find a model that kind of grasps what you have at the time, and then whether or not you religiously follow that through to when it diverts off drastically. So, there's a lot of gut feel with how it's playing out, and when it completely turns to custard, you're just relying on what you see. But there's a really cool blend of always of what you see, what you've experienced, and what I know it's hard to believe, it's what you think is going to happen. It's fun if you get it right, and really annoying, when you got no idea. Yeah, so as you can tell, I've kind of probably more on the no idea side of it in terms of predicting the weather, but to be honest, you're rarely seeing anyone else piece it all together, time and time again. It's more about the managing the boats around you to be where you want to be when forecasts are more stable, and where you want to position for that. Yeah, absolutely. I forgot how enjoyable it was to know that you got the same package as the guy next door. You probably, I suspect they're a little vulnerable from the first leg results where they do 99% of everything right, and then when the weather goes really light and wobbly, I think we saw a little bit of that coming into the finish here. But in the end, they're well trained, they're well polished, the boat's immaculate, and we're not at that level. So in reality, we've got a big job in front of us, but by the results, we're hanging in there. So, I'm much more excited about this next leg because it's going to involve a lot more aspects than point and shoot and go fast. So that's not what we're not very good at that at the moment. I think we'll have a good handle on the tricky, difficult conditions, especially setting sails and boat configuration to a really varied breeze. Our sails are old and tired, like most of the fleet, and but I think we know what to do with them when. I kind of like some of the tactical views on it, where they're more aggressive on like more dinghy style, and then I just need to manage when that plays into the bigger picture or not, and take small gains. So that's been good. They struggle on looking after the food program. Would be one part of it. But and it's interesting. They're young. They need more sleep than the older people. So it's there's heaps and heaps of different variations. But the main thing is that they're getting experience, and I assume my job is to try and help them not make mistakes that I've seen and have done. No, well, to be honest, we have to keep it in perspective. This is reasonable. These are nice condition races, and we've got to keep the balance right for a round the world race into the future. In regards to, the last round the world race we had was extremely hard and quite windy, and that balance needs to be, you need experience and you need a certain level to maintain that properly and safely. So, but I support bringing in, the right balance of the youth into that. So, we've got to keep an eye on the numbers. I think Ocean Race Europe this time is hugely important. It's something that we've always wanted to do in the past, in between round the world races, is to have an event like this, and it's really strange. In the past, when projects have been big teams, there hasn't been the funds available to do this, and now in a post-COVID era, when there's probably almost no money around, we've been able to get 7 teams on the starting line. So I don't understand that as such, but really excited. This format, I think, is something that we should be looking at for the future, where it's really quick, short, sharp stops throughout Europe. It's just the perfect. I think it's the perfect schedule. It's really hard on the sailing. Like, we're doing, 3-4 really tough days, and then whatever, a day off, and then we're rolling back into it. But I think this is what we need to do to keep it fast and keep it efficient.